This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
We off?
30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like Doc slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey. We're live. Hello, Criminal Mischief Nation. Welcome back to another bonus episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Branden. I am Brandon Morgan, one of your co-hosts, along with the great Carolyn Osorio, who is joining us again. Aren't we lucky? Carolyn, how are you?
I feel like I was just about to enter a game show.
I was going for my Bob Barker.
Were you? Because it really, like, I was picturing that big wand microphone and
have your pet spayed or neutered. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
How you doing? How's your week?
Oh my gosh, it was so freaking busy, and things are really getting crazy with my daughter's wedding coming up on June 21st. I went with them to Seattle to get their rings like sized, and it was like, as I had to drive separately, and I was going through the city, and I was like imagining, like, my husband and I have such memories of like our first date, or no, our third date was like at this place called the Phoenix Underground, which was Gen Xers, and you know, they're gonna just be like, oh yeah, baby. And just that whole thing of, like, you know, that young love and thinking about that. And
how long do you think before you're a grandma?
Oh God, can you not?
Come on. I put the over under 3 years.
No, she's going to law school.
Sure. Okay. I believe you.
I don't know. I mean, I that's not something I think, because I still have, like, you know, I got kids in the nest here that I don't really think about it. I don't really feel like I want to think about that, but
you're welcome.
Can you not do that? Can you not take me out of, like, my, like, really wonderful place of, like,
what's not wonderful about that? It's also wonderful.
I'm just not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I mean, are you ready to be a grandpappy?
Oh, my kid's 13, my oldest.
Okay, listen.
I'm not planning a wedding.
I love how you're totally trying to act like you're Mr. Young Dad.
No. I'm sorry. You're just planning a wedding in like 2 weeks, so I figured that had to cross you and your husband's mind. That's all. Okay.
You know, I don't. It's hard for me because I still see her as being, you know,
worse.
And so I don't really, I think that this is a good transition into the story, because, like, you know, Maggie and her daughter, and, you know, putting those boundaries, and it's something I, you know, continually go through with my daughters, because, you know, they're adults. And so it's just really hard to, you know, it's like a new relationship, you know what I mean? Because you got to give them their space, but then, you know, and it goes both ways. You know, they still kind of want to be a kid sometimes sometimes two, and so it's like, anyway, it's great, but
Good. Good. Well, congratulations. Do you know what you're wearing?
yeah, I don't. I asked her, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm
Okay.
wearing.
How many people are going?
So we have what's really cool is the wedding is going to be at this park that I used to take them to, and not used to. I mean, I have ta been taking them their whole lives. It's this huge rose garden. And so she's having it there. So there's just all these memories. And it's like this town called Reston, which is where I grew up, or when I was little. And so she's the fact that she chose that site was just really amazing. And then the other thing is that we're going to this restaurant that's like you just walk up, it's like a block up. And it wouldn't be a traditional choice because it's not fancy. It's like totally, you would just be like, oh my gosh, you fucking hippie. Um, it's like the woman who owns and her husband, they still own it from when I was a kid and my mom took me. So it was like, and the furniture is exactly the same. It's like totally like the tables are like, those circle round tables with the claw toes, and it's got the piano that like one of my favorite things about that place is that there was a guy, this old guy, you wouldn't even have noticed him, right? Just because you're doing your th thing or whatever. But then he went over to the piano and he's just a customer. He's just a guest like I was with my kids. And all of a sudden he starts doing this like he's Rachmaninoff. I mean, it was incredible. And it's like it just attracts that type of
Yeah.
vibe where it's like just people of all different, cross sections of the community. So she's having the luncheon there, and then we're having the reception here. So the reception, I think there's going to be like 75 people. So it's been kind of
Nice.
crazy. Yeah.
Nice. 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 Well,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's get into this.
Yeah.
I don't know how this woman, Maggie, is even able to like speak coherently, let alone, have adopted this activism kind of posture that she's, maybe that's her fuel. I don't know, but it reminded me of that movie, Three Billboards Outside of Whatever. You know that
Oh my
movie?
gosh. Yes, with the woman who's in Fargo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
With her,
McDormand.
Frances
McDormand.
McDormand. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
With, Sam Rockwell won the Oscar for that. He was amazing.
Mm, mm.
Uh, Woody Harrelson. But it was, yeah, it was that like a mother's, either you get buried in your grief or you use it as fuel, to fire you up. And obviously Maggie's the latter in that one. And but just to hear her discuss like the callousness of how she found out, right, with that cop just throwing this piece of paper in her hand and standing there in the rain, and for her to still, be able to talk about it and to still have any trust or respect for like law enforcement or whatever. It's a testament to her and to her character and how she's, that it really speaks to that kind of that bedrock stoic philosophy that's says we can't control what happens to us. We can only control how we react to what happens to us.
Which is so hard.
It's
It
so
is.
hard. It's
See,
so hard.
that's the thing about like having the philosophies and having those little one-liners. And I'm not dissing them at all. I try to there's I play those types of things in my head over and over again, but then
Yeah.
actually living it is
Whew.
after so many years, you know?
It's tough. It's tough. It's easy to read it in a book and to think about how cool, yeah, and I'm evolved and whatever. But then when you see it in the Jesus, in the crucible of the human experience, where it's the most difficult thing
I know.
that you could think about having to endure. Like,
Mhm.
would I be able to apply that philosophy? Like, I can control how I react to the situation. That's it. And I can choose, like Viktor Frankl, right? And Man's Search for Meaning, right? When he was in the fucking concentration camps in the early 1940s, and he was like, oh my gosh, everybody, his entire bloodline is gone.
Mm.
Everybody's wiped out. everyone on his right and on his left, that person is not there the next day, like every fucking day. But he's a writer and he writes about it. And he found out his discovery was to find meaning in his suffering. Right. And that's what that
I mean, that's
whole,
like Siddhartha. I mean, that's like that like
but deeper than Siddhartha, deeper than I can sit, I can fast, and I can wait, whatever. No. I mean, this is, and I get it. The wisdom of the river and all that Siddhartha is fantastic. But with Frankel, he goes really, really, really deep. Okay. Like what he would say to Maggie here, right, was that the reason that Brittany died first was because Maggie was strong enough to handle it. And that if she had died, Brittany might had not have been able to accept the loss of her mother, and she might have been driven into the depths of despair that was unrecoverable, right? So that's what Frankel would tell Maggie, like that's the meaning that you found in your suffering.
and he's the only person that could tell her that because of what he
Yes,
endured himself.
because of
I
his
mean,
loss,
nobody else could ever say anything like that to a
without
mother.
getting kicked in the balls, of course.
I mean, without absolutely,
Yeah, I know.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So, like, I'm glad that this, although it's so hard, and that's kind of why I made it a two-parter. I wasn't intending on doing that, but it was like I felt like she had a lot to impart, and I didn't want to cut it short.
you
Know what I
forget
mean?
that she's a grieving mother with how confidently she talks and how lucid she is in her speech. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like you've I,
I do because, and one of the things that her and I talked about was like because of her training, she can really
sure.
articulate what other parents are going through in a way that you really can understand. It's not there's of course the grief stricken shriek. Everybody understands that. Everybody knows what that is, that keen of like, you get that. That's like primal. But to have her explain in the way that she has, I feel like there's a lot of, there's so much wisdom in that, and it's not anything anybody wants to have wisdom in, but I think in understanding what people go through and the trauma that people go. I mean, it's like, people talk about trauma so much. I don't want to say it's trite, but like it really does, it needs to be brought to the surface, and I think that she does a really good job of articulating, what that is and the continued grief and why it's important and why her drives across America like that and what fuels that. And then the people that are coming up to her
Yeah.
and like hugging her and like, that's telling sharing their stories. And, I mean, that's tough.
It's like man, it's weird. It's almost like she's constantly about to drown, but is always constantly getting thrown a life vest at the last second. Like it's just and so maybe that's why she does it, because if she stops, then it's over, you know. Emotionally, she
No,
could break, you know.
yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's like, it's so vulnerable.
Yeah.
That would be so vulnerable.
And all
I
these years with
mean,
no answers.
yeah, but I mean, going and telling your story and having people come up to you and like,
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be so tough. And I like it how she's now morphed to telling other people's stories and using her platform
Yeah.
to make it about other
To
people and
raise
make it
awareness
feel,
on other cases and stuff.
yeah,
That's terrific.
yeah.
But near the end, all of the stuff with the stamp, with the letter, with the that that's that's fascinating, because I wasn't thinking ahead. I wasn't trying to figure it out, or maybe I just wouldn't have figured it out. But what I didn't catch on to was the fact that uh, how much it could have fucked with the alibis that the police accepted and released these people and said, you're no longer persons of interest in this. Um, but if that shifts the time of death by 48 hours, those alibis are bullshit.
And like, what a crazy story about the seminal fluid on the sheets,
Yeah.
like
Oh my
how it
gosh.
got there.
It's listen, I would buy that. I
I
would
know.
totally buy that.
I know.
Okay, she's a cop's daughter staying over. You need the bed because, you need the bed. So go ahead. Right? Like, okay. I've had roommates. You know what I mean?
I
Like, I
know, but
understand.
like we've talked about the paranoia of like getting your DNA,
I know.
and this is a situation where they'd been okay, say like the guy is completely innocent,
Sure.
right? And it's like, what if he didn't have an alibi and he's got not his blood in the sink
Oh my gosh.
and his semen on the bed sheet?
So, wouldn't there have also been genetic material from his girlfriend and not the victim?
Okay, this is so interesting because Mac, that's going to be in part two. I
Oh,
can't
okay.
believe your brain went there. As Mac said, yeah, well, she scooted off of there.
Okay. That's true, right?
She,
There would have been an
I
additional
know,
sample.
and she's trying to get them to test those the sheets for just, I can't believe you thought of that.
Well, why not? Listen, you said if the guy's innocent, what would make him innocent? What would be more exculpatory evidence beyond a questionable alibi now? Right? Let's really test the story.
Because I didn't think of that.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't think of that. No, when she said that, I was like, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
right.
So like, yeah, that should be there.
Of course that should be there. And that would, in my opinion, I'm not an investigator. I don't know what the standard of proof is, but that would make me believe him. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the investigators won't even say what his alibi is. Won't, I mean, what did you
Right.
think about that? Like, why, they're just,
I don't understand. I gave up trying to figure out what ethical kind of standards or what procedural kind of limitations different police bureaus have. I don't know. I don't know. And you always seem to, and not on purpose, but just as part of your storytelling, a lot of times police aren't shown in the best light in terms of how they handle these cases early on. Like with this one, with this dipshit knocking on the door saying, "Yo, call Tulsa, your daughter's been murdered." I mean, what the fuck is that all about? I mean, one of my worst memories from my childhood, I was young. I was like 10 or 11. Uh, my parents were still together. And I remember the first really, really, really big fight that my mom and dad got into, like in front of me. My dad's best friend's brother's kid died. So basically, my dad's best friend was his fraternity brother, and there were four boys in this family. And so my dad became like the fifth brother in the family, knew everybody, knew all the kids really well. Okay. And it was like, and they were all Daltons, the Dalton boys. Okay. And they all lived in the same town in Andover, Massachusetts. Okay. So this teenager was killed in a drunk driving accident, and they called the wrong brother by mistake, the cops. The cops called Bill, my dad's best friend, and said, this the kid's name. And he goes, "That's not one of my boys. That's my nephew. That's my brother's son. And you're not fucking telling him. I'm going to my brother's house and I'm going to tell him." Okay. And so the reason my parents got in the fight is because my dad was a pilot. He was on a trip somewhere. My mom got the message. She didn't want to burden my dad with it when he was overseas for like a week. Okay. So she didn't tell him right away. Okay. That was her decision that she made. He got back and he was rip shit pissed off. How could you not tell him? Blah, 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 blah. It was a whole thing. But
man,
that's not
now
what
I
bothered
see
me.
where you get it.
No,
Jesus.
but that's not what bothered me. What bothered me, I was just old enough to have like a way, way, way too much, an unhealthy amount of empathy for Bucky Dalton and like losing his son, right? Like that bothered the shit out of me. And I have a brother, I have two brothers, and it also bothered me that Bill Dalton had to be the one to tell his brother the worst news of his life. You know, like how would I do that? How would I tell him?
Who did you think should tell him?
I don't know. The
I
cops.
think this is so interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
so
cops.
there's here's the thing. There's not too much empathy.
No,
Like,
no, what I'm saying is that it as a young kid, I wasn't even 13, I was 11 years old. Like it was this weight that I carried around for years, like thinking about it. It was
I
really
know, but I
debilitating.
have three. My husband. Now I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know.
I know about his loss, but
No, 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 not that.
oh,
My
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera Clarity y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
I was just talking about like the three. I have 3 boys and 2 girls, and my 3 boys, they are really sensitive and always have. Like I didn't have brothers, so like I kind of, I always figured they would be. Like I didn't think that they wouldn't, but it's like boys are incredibly sensitive, and unfortunately. They, especially like Gen X and other generations, drill it out of you. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like,
sure.
I mean, I guess I just don't really. I see that as being a burden, and maybe you felt like it was too much. But I mean, you were really close with them. Your dad.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be. I don't want to say obsession, but it was an unhealthy kind of focus on that. Like I couldn't shake it for a long time. It was weird. And who should have told him, I think would have been someone trained in those kinds of things. Like you mentioned in the episode, like they got retrained on notification and all of that. Like there's a way that you do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, it was traumatic. I should just say growing up, and it didn't even happen to my family. It happened to our friends, and it was still like fucking really, really traumatic. And the family was kind of broken after that in a really profound kind of way. Like,
oh my God, I can't even tell you. Like I lived this with my,
I know.
my husband
Yeah.
because well, it was weird because when I met my husband, he told me it was like in January, and he told me my brother died last year. He was killed by a drunk driver. I thought when he meant last year, he meant a year
12
ago.
months ago. What was it like?
Not he was killed the eve of Christmas Eve.
That's weeks.
Weeks.
And he fucking said last year? He was
said
gaslighting you from day one. Get out while you can. It's not too late.
And but seriously, you know what? Then when I went to his house and met his mother, and it was like, I'm thinking this was a year ago. And you don't ask someone that you're dating to please tell me this horrible story that happened.
Holy
you know what I mean?
Weeks.
But like, then I had this front row seat of kind of this family completely kind of, anyway, it was just a very, very difficult experience. So I understand the trauma that you're talking about because it really is. And so you get the murder victims. I mean, Todd wasn't technically murdered, I mean, it was a massive raging alcoholic, drunk driver, multiple offenses, and all that.
It should have been a fucking murder charge.
So yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's why I didn't want to cut Maggie off, because I felt like she had a lot to share with what she's been through and the way that she, you know, because of her training, you know, she knows how to articulate it. And I just felt like that's so powerful. And because trauma like this, especially, like, I don't know how she does it either. Like, I don't.
It's a mystery. I'm telling you.
But that's what's so great about Mac. And I kind of vacillated about putting that in there with her and I laughing. But it's like, to me, Mac is so amazing because I know she does so much for so many people. And then she also has this incredible, like, Southern charm and like wicked sense of humor. And it's like, you feel like, I can only imagine what she does for people like Maggie. You know, you feel like you're eating, you know, peach pie, cobbler, listening to her. But I mean, it's like a hug, like just talking to her and just laughing and just like, I could see her being able to talk to these victims' families and just be like, I got you. And, you know, she means it. If they would have done this with her, you know, Maggie, I feel like would be the type of person who'd be like, I'm not saying anything. You know, but then if you don't treat her a certain way, she's not going to take it.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't. And I totally respect that, you know?
So you surprised me again with the two-parter, but looking forward to part 2. And I'm not going to Google anything. I don't want to learn anything about it ahead of time. But looking forward to it.
Okay.
Really looking forward to it. So great job. Thank you. Nation, if you enjoyed the episode, share it, please, with people. This is an important episode. And go over to Apple or Spotify and leave us a review. Send us some comments. We love reading them. And until next time, Carolyn, anything you want to add?
Nope. We'll see you next time.
Great. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Bye.
From Pie in the Sky Media, Criminal Mischief is an EVO production, recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself. Music by Soundstripe. For EVO Creative, I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.